Hi YouTube, Gaming Guy here, and we have a new arena meta, and I wanted to give you my first impressions and thoughts and tips and what you should be drafting, playing to improve your win rate so you can be successful in arena for the next upcoming month before we get our upcoming expansion. So let's get into it. Here is a Reddit post showing you the current decks that are included in Arena because it did change a bit. I tried to find it on like the normal websites or whatever, and there's not a filter in game to show you that information, which I think is a bit of a travesty. So it's a little bit convoluted to find, but there's always, as always, it includes the core cards. We have Ashes of Outlands, Rise of Shadows, Dark Moon Fair, Murder at Castle Nathria, March of the Lich King, and Path of Arthas. So mostly when you're drafting, there are a couple of these older cards, and it's great for the nostalgia that are pretty good, but you're mostly looking for the cards that are in the later expansions because of power creep, just in general. Now I'm going to hop on over to just HearthstoneReplay.net. I'll put the link in the description. And this is where you see, a current snapshot if you just click on the arena button over here of what is best by win rate and what people are picking. And it's just a good laid out site that shows, data and cards picked, and it's a quick way for me to see the cards that I'm seeing. So I did a draft where I wasn't aware of this release. I do live stream. My stream on Friday didn't go too well because everything was new. It caught me by surprise. I didn't know it released because I worked that day. But then on Sunday we had a much better results because I was able to do a little bit of research about what's came out and what to expect and what cards my opponents are going to be picking and I should be picking. And after doing that, we had a 9-win run, a 3-win run on a 10-win run on my last stream. I'll put the link to that in the description as well. So if you want to see what people are playing at high wins, or just enjoy a nice arena run that did pretty well, feel free to give it a watch. But my advice is looking at the win rates in dual class. A lot of times classes aren't playable, and I would say anything above Shaman is playable. That's close to like 50%, and anything below this line here, because 43% is a massive, that's a 10%, and we have a 14% disparity at the very bottom. These three never pick them. So if you get offered these three to begin, you got screwed. Hopefully you can at least pair half of your run with one of the top four, and that can kind of save it. So this would be a bottom of the barrel. Hopefully you have something at least, hopefully your first three offers aren't these three, because these win rates are incredibly low and Warlock is super unplayable. It doesn't even have a 40% win rate. So I'm not really going to talk too much, and that's a pretty big downshift. So in the last meta, the best class was Rogue, and then it was Mage and Shaman and DK. Those are the top four, with Rogue being number one, then Mage, and then Shaman, and then DK, and they were about like 50 to 55%. So we have a couple of new classes that are very good to play, being Priest and Hunter in the top four. These are the classes that you want to pick both of if you can. And they have a lot of powerful reasons of why they're the top. So I'm going to go over these four classes. And one of my runs, I had a Rogue as half of my class. It was a Rogue Death Knight, and I believe it was Rogue Death Knight. I think it was Rogue Death Knight. But I do remember it was mostly Rogue cards. Yeah, it was Rogue Death Knight. And we had a lot of secret synergies. No, wait, it was Rogue Mage. It was Rogue Mage, sorry. Secrets generated my memory. It was a Rogue Mage, and it had a lot of secret synergies and mana cheat and tempo. So if you high roll these classes here, with the cards that are a bit broken, like the newer cards that I alluded to, then you can still do pretty well. But the cards that mostly I saw Priests and Death Knights at 7+ wins. So then you can see what people are drafting just with this simple filter. You can search by win rate, and then you can see how rare it is. So this is a better filter. So you can just have a general idea of what, if you are lucky enough to get offered this card, definitely pick it because it's super broken for like last meta was the cards I think were a bit like a bit stronger, so it was kind of this is probably kind of an average legendary to good, probably like A tier in last meta, but this meta is definitely like there's a less super strong cards. There are some, but it's definitely a bit slower, and I like it a bit better as my first impression after playing it for a good 8 to 10 hours. So this is on the broken scale, auto pick, but it's not being offered. That's a change that they made that I like. There are broken cards, but not everybody has them. So you see it's only in 3% of the decks. Sylvanas the Accused, I did a run with this one. It's not that common as well, but this card is good. It's standard. This card is pretty good. I had a draft where I think I had one of these and I was able to discover it. So keep in mind when you do dual class arena, you have the first hero that you pick. When you do discover mechanics, you're going to discover spells within that class. So if you get like a Death Knight Priest, which is I believe that was the deck that went 9 for me yesterday, was a Death Knight Priest, and we had a lot of discover spell mechanics, and we were able to find the Scourge because we were discovering Death Knight spells, the 9-mana legendary spell. Okay, this card, I'm just looking for. So most of the cards there are decent. There's a set or two that did not change. So like this card was in last meta, it's still good. Same with this card. The major change for Soul Stealer, which is like the most broken card. It's even more broken now because it's rare. So if you can get offered, it's definitely pick it. But like the amount of decks that it's in is way down. I feel like when I was playing last meta, if I made it to 5+ wins and there was a Death Knight half of my opponent, then the odds of them having this card just drafted in their deck was like kind of like 40%. I've only seen it played against me once in 6 runs, so it's definitely being offered a lot less, which I think is good. Because it's okay to have this card in the meta, but I don't want everybody to have the card, and then this card, like other classes don't have a card that's this strong. So this is still like grade A material. Pick it as much as you see it, and you're going to win some games. Still super broken. I'm trying to look at the cards that have changed. So I have a previous video where I go over which cards are broken, and I already covered this card in that video, and it's still good. This is a card that wasn't in last meta that is very good. It's 1 mana 2/2 with no downside and just pure upside. It's very powerful. It's good for grabbing the board early, and grabbing the board early and tempoing out and playing from ahead is very, very strong in this meta. There's not as much comeback and swings as there was in the last meta, but also it's harder to just run away with the game and run somebody over on the flip side. So there was more swings and answers in the last meta cards, but the cards were also could kill you a lot faster. So I think I like that trade-off, but this is a good card to contest the board early. Plague Strike is pretty strong as well. This is a new card to the meta. When I say new card, I mean new to Arena for this meta. This is still good from the last one. Same with Remorseless. This card is very, very strong. This is one that's new. So I'm just going to quickly, if it was in the last meta, I'm just going to tell you it's good. And any card that I say it's good, if you see it, mostly draft it, other than the only other things to consider is Synergy, Cycle, and your Curve. But these are all the cards you want to build your deck with because it's the easiest way to win games. This card is very good. You can build corpses, and if you buff it with like a priest card or other buff cards, and let's say you give it +2/+2, and you have 4 corpses, it'll copy it itself as a 4/6 or whatever buff you apply, making it crazy strong, especially in the mid to late game where you have a lot of corpses and you can just generate a free card because maybe you have 20 or 30 corpses like stocked in the late game. Very, very strong card. This one is still good. Good early game. Still good. This card's new. So this is a good discovery card. It's a good turn 3 play. Just discovering a free spell. You can get the Scourge and the other spells that are good. I don't know. Where is the Scourge? Maybe it's in neutral. Thought it was... Trying to find it. Thought it was a Death Knight card. Oh well. It's just a... So I'm talking about the... It is a Death Knight card. I don't know why this card's not popping up. But I'll just... That is crappy quality. That's again crappy quality. Okay, there. You guys can see that. So, a little bit of a hiccup. But this card is a legendary spell. It should be listed there. I'm probably just not using the filters properly. But this is like one of the most broken spells, and the reason this Soul Stealer, the 2/4s, the Cycle, the Weapon, all of these in conjunction with each other is why Death Knight's at the top. It has great removal, great tempo, and then this is like there's no huddle up anymore. So this is Death Knight still has their huddle up, and the sets that they replaced and took out, the undeads that are in this meta are even stronger. So if you can mostly discover the spell, I don't know if you can draft it. So maybe because you can't draft it, that's why it's not listed. But you can definitely discover it. And I'm not exactly sure on the can you draft this as your legendary with your first pick. Probably, I'm gonna just guess that you can't draft it, but you definitely can discover it from Discover Mechanics. So if you pick Death Knight first, and you pick a Priest, and then Priest has a lot of Discover spell mechanics. We had that scenario. It's not that uncommon to get one of these through the Discover Mechanics, and then it's just crazy strong. And because of the undeads that are in are good, and you generate a board with nothing, and if it's a close game where your opponent maybe has one card and you generate a board for free, or maybe it's even reduced because you have like the Mage Primordial Glyph on like turn 7, yeah, it's pretty winning most of the time. So try to pick Death Knight, get Discover Mechanics, and auto pick this card when you see it, unless you're gonna like completely die because of aggro deck or something. But yeah, this is the other card I wanted to definitely highlight. This is very good. S tier plus. Okay, so let's move on to the next class and what makes it good. And this is a class that was previously in this range, in the mid tier. It was playable. It wasn't great. It is now playable and feels strong. I did 2 priest runs yesterday. I tried to pair it with Hunter on my 3-win run, and I kind of like these classes traditionally want to do opposite things. Like Priest is kind of a more tempo or control, and this is aggro to tempo. So we had kind of decks that want to control from the priests, and we had the fast card offerings with the Hunter. So we didn't have good dual synergy. We got very, very unlucky. The deck still could have easily won 5 or 6 games. It was also like very bottom tier offerings. So most of the cards I'm going to be displaying and talking about we didn't see. We had mostly old cards, which that's one of the bummers. If you get 30 cards offered buckets wise, and like 27 of them are from 5+ years ago, you're going to have a very difficult time winning still, and that's still problematic. The pairings, it would be nicer. Like, I like playing the old cards. They're fun. Hearthstone's been a good game for over a decade, but it would be nicer if all 6 of the sets came from like the same year, or if they want to include the newer cards, just ban some of the crazy powerful cards. or almost ban them by making them like very, very like a 2% offering or something like that if they're not the legendaries. I think they might have micro adjusted that, so good on them a little bit, but I think it needs to be a bit more extreme to balance it out, because it's okay to have old with new, but if you have a 4-mana card that is a location that freezes a board and gives you 2/2s, or buffs a card and draws a card, versus a 4-mana 3/3 that just gives Death Rattle of +1/+1, like 1/1 statted cards, which is 2 examples. One card is like ridiculously good, and the other one is ridiculously bad. So that's not fun. If somebody got 2 of one of those cards, and somebody else unfortunately had to pick two of the shittier old card, the person with the more new cards is just gonna mostly win, unless they like disconnect or like make a lot of mistakes. Which that's not fun. You don't want to be playing against somebody who you feel like has twice as strong deck. So this is one of the cards I was just alluding to that makes Priest really good. So you can play this on turn 3. You don't have to, and then it's a location, so you can trigger it whenever you want to. So it's a good play on turn 3. If you had a 2-drop on the board, you can immediately buff it, get a free trade, and you get to draw a card, or you could just play it and try to do that next turn, like with a rush. So it's flexible to do the effect when you have a minion on the board. It's very, very powerful when you're already winning, and even when you're losing, it's a good comeback potential. It combos with rush, it combos with taunt, etc. So this is the one of the main reasons Priest is good. Basically everything I'm going to be talking about. That's probably in this top 10 list. This card, so Priest is doing Priest things in this meta, but it's doing them harder and faster. So there's a lot of good. Our 9-win Priest deck, we didn't even draft a 6+ card, which is kind of interesting. I think, or we drafted like 1. And like 5+ cards, we had like 2 in the deck. But because we had so much steal our opponent's cards and so much early game good cards, it didn't really matter. We just kind of found the early game. And we were able to discover spells, steal our opponent's like late game, and we just kind of stole what we needed to. And the only games we really lost is when we didn't find our steal cards and we ran out of steam, or just some crazy high roll mechanics that we couldn't deal with, essentially. So very, very good for those reasons. And this is one of the cards that's amazing. It's a 2/6 taunt, and it gives you 2 cards from your opponent's hand. And okay, they're both from your hand. I thought one was from the deck, but I'm mistaken. So that's crazy. You get to slow your opponent down, and you get to generate 2 cards, and it has taunt. It's just awesome. Very good card. Definitely draft as many of these as you can. Same with this is a 3/2, which is good stats for 2, and it adds an extra card to your hand. So just great. All of these cards kind of doing the same, like for decent stats for the mana, doing the same premise. Identity Theft, this is the one that does hand in deck. So this card is great. It's all the same type of theme. This one is, make sure that you can support this card, because it's a bit slow. It's not one unless my opponent did nothing for the first 2 turns, or I already played like one of the 1s or the 2s. It's not something, or I have absolutely nothing else I can do. It's something that it is a 3, but it's like a slow. It's basically you get 2 cards, but you skip your turn 3, kind of like a Arcane Intellect from back in the day. So you want to probably use that more in the mid game, when you need answers, or the late game, ideally. If you have to play it on curve, hopefully you have a board. Just so, because there's a lot of, I'm about to go over Hunter being good, and Hunter is a Smork King, obviously. So just so you don't get ran over and die from maybe a Hunter opponent. But definitely maybe like drafting 2 of these with a good 1s and 2s to support it is good. I don't know if this is one where I'd want to draft more than 3. It's good value, but you want to make sure that you have the early game, because the meta has gotten faster since Hunter is good. So you have to make sure that you have the tools to not get ran over by the Hunter players, who are going to be hitting that face button. Renew, classic, steal, like, heal yourself for 3 or a minion, and then also discover a spell. You're going to discover a spell from the class you picked first. So if you get the Death Knight spell and you have like 3 renews, if you get Death Knight and then pick Priest, this is where you can discover the Scourge, and then that's like just stupidly winning if you get a copy of that spell. Or even Mage has pretty good spells as well, and even the Priest spells like further down are fine. If you pick Priest first, it's okay to pick Priest first. Like, it's one of the top 4. If you get like a Warrior, a Druid, and Priest, pick Priest. You just have tools to actually win the game. The Priest cards are much better than the other classes, so we got like only like 3 classes I would consider unplayable, so that's pretty good. This dragon, old school card, Taunt, gives you a free dragon, and a lot of the dragons are good and strong. Still have most of the same dragons that were in last set. This is a new one that they added. So there's still the Paladin 3/3 Lifesteal Dragon. There's still Caligos. There's still Alexstrasza, Ysera, and I think the Ysera, the Rush Onyxia, I think is still in, but I'm not positive on that one. I know the old school Onyxia is in from the dragons that I've seen. So very good. You get a free dragon. What's not to love with that? The lackey mechanic is back. So one of Rogue's good cards is Evil Miscreant, where you get the combo 2 lackeys. So the lackeys can give your minion rush. You can deal 2 damage for free. You can generate 2 drop, and you can find a spell. There's like 5 different lackeys, and they're all very strong and pretty good tempo. So being able to generate them and find them, to find like a dragon, a free spell, a 2-drop, rush, give a minion rush and +1 attack, all good things. So that's why Conscriptor is good. Attendant was in last time. It's still strong. It's stronger now because there's more good early game cards that we just went over that you want to play. Nova's still fine. Just a standard AoE. Partner in Crime is very good because it's a lot of stats. You get to play 4/10 worth of stats on turn 4, and you have 2 minions where it's split between, which is better in the mid game than having 1 giant minion. It's harder for your opponent to deal with, so very, very, very good card. And this card, if you have buffs where you give it, buff its stats, it'll copy the stats at the end of the turn as well. So if you buff it +2/+2 again, using that, it'll give you 2 4 6s or 4 7s. This card is very powerful, cheap removal. So it's you can kill like a 8/8 for 1 mana. Like, what's not to like there? So any minion that has more or the same attack and health, it just kills it for 1 mana. So that's very good. This is an okay card, one of the old school corrupts. This is probably this one I haven't played. I think I played it once on day 1, but I wasn't sure what's going on. I didn't draft or play particularly well with the surprise. Took me a little while to get adjusted and acclimated to it. This card's pretty good. Again, if you're discovering spells and reducing costs, that's very good. Depending on the class, again, you could discover a Scourge. That's like the #1 thing you want to do. Apotheosis was in last time, and it's been upgraded because you have much better early game options where you can play this on turn 3 and help you not lose to a Hunter going face, for example. Wandmaker's upgraded because there's Renew that you can get if you're a priest, and Renew is good, for example. And there's a bunch of other powerful 1-cost spells, or you can get the removal, the light it burns, if you're a priest. And a lot of the classes have good 1-cost spells. Stonehill. See if there's anything else that I think has been particularly broken for priest. Oh, Cut the Scene is very good. Let me look. Oh, Cannibalize. Cannibalize is pretty good. That's in a lot of the decks. It's to destroy a card and heal your cards. That's pretty good. But Cut the Scene is a new removal the infuse mechanic, if something dies on your board, if 3 of your minions die in the early game, then you can clear a full board of stuff as long as the attack is 6 or less. It also destroys your own side, so it's like something you want to use smartly. But I think that's most of the reasons that Priest has climbed. The other cards are decent, but they're not like the super broken stuff. They're just kind of standard okay in strength. Once you get down to like this is like the okay offerings, just kind of standard power, and this is the Y is the class sitting here at the top. So let's go to the next one. So Mage still has its typical good cards, like Flame Strike is fine, Portal's still in and fine, but it's got some changes, and there's some cards that were removed. So Tsunami's no longer in, but it has other options, and other cards that were very good that competed with a card like Tsunami that other classes had, they're gone too. Like Huddle Up is, well, that's also a Mage card, but just other very strong cards are gone. So it makes Mage still having kind of stronger options than other classes pretty good. Plus the Discover mechanics, being able to discover these spells in particular is good. Makes it still pretty like the third best class. Oh, but this card, this is the best location currently in. Or maybe second best. This is either this one or Priest. Maybe the Priest one's slightly better. But this is like insane. A 3 mana, you get a 2/2 that also deals 2 damage to a random enemy, and you get the freeze benefit. So you get to generate a card that's a decent 2-drop stats with the freeze mechanic to slow them down, to just kind of be board dominant, and you get 6/6 stats for 3 mana, and you get to freeze 3 different times. It's just insane. It's very good, and that's why it's got the highest win rate. It's like the card from my Friday. I was like, this card is ridiculous. Like, compare this card to just like a 3/3 or whatever, or God forbid even a 2/3. It's just like not even close from some of the older cards that cost 3. So yes, draft as many of these as you can. You will be board dominant early, and then you can play from ahead and do things like Firelands Portals, People's Face, or Fireball Face, which is what you want to be doing as Mage, is just, trying to get the early game board, get about 10 chip damage in, and then have all your removal or burn going face, and they're just not gonna, 30 HP just isn't enough. I had an opponent yesterday on my 10 and 3, the last loss. He generated 5 arcane bolts, which they on turn 8 can deal 3 damage. All of those can go face. He reduced those costs and the cost of his other spells, like his fireball. So I was sitting at like 21 health on his turn 8, and he burned me in one turn with 8 mana, did 21 damage to my face. It was pretty ridiculous. But yeah, that's the type of high rolly constructed level synergies that are possible. And unfortunately, I was on the receiving end of that, so I didn't get to go 12 with my deck that definitely could have if it didn't get scammed. The secret rogue that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. This is a pretty this is a pretty good card. There's a lot of decent mage minions that are in the set. One of the ones is the imprisoned 4/5. Let's see if I can find him. Where is he? Oh, here he is. I was like, he can't be too far. Like, this is one of the good minions to get. For example, you can get this can give you a Caligos as well. Those are like the two ones that pop out in my mind. So if you just find a free Caligos, which then also gives you a free spell, and you can get like a 0 mana, a Flame Strike, a 0 mana Portal, or the 0 mana Arcane Defenders, which this one's new, where you can just summon 2 taunts for free with generating that card, or Deep Freeze. Oh, no, Arcane Defenders was in last. The Deep Freeze is new. Then there's the other one that gives you 2 8/8 elementals somewhere. All of that stuff is good, or even just a Blizzard. Maybe you have to discover that. Power of Creation. Okay, maybe it's Power of Creation, but there's and there might be a 6 mana 8/8. But anyways, like just there's a bunch of good expensive spells that if you discover a Caligos, which discovers a spell, and then you get to play cheat out like 16 mana in one turn. The more mana you can cheat is still great in the meta. This is a standard. This helps you survive against the hunters that are trying to smork you down. It's pretty good. You heal for 4, and you get 2 out of the 3 that the Sanctum would give you. It doesn't freeze. It's not Sanctum's better, but this is a very solid card for survivability. Arcane Rend gives you the arcane bolts that I was talking about. So my opponent got 5 because he played an Arcane Rend, and then he played the Cyclone, and he was able to replay it with the with one of his cards from his other class, which I can't remember. I think maybe it was Rogue as well, and then he got 5. This is pretty decent. Find your spells. Deathborn is one of the new AoEs that's very good. It's like Blizzard, but then you get more of the 2/2s that deal 2 to an enemy. So if there's a bunch of like small minions, say they have like 5 things that die to this, and you clear a board and generate 5 2/2s of your own that also fight for board. That's like very good. It's in that situation, it's better than Blizzard, right? Blizzard is better when you maybe it's close, you both have a big board, and over 2 turns you can do a lethal if you stop his board from killing you. That's like when Blizzard would be better. But in general, I think this card's better than Blizzard. It's up here way higher on the list than Blizzard. This is an old card that's fine. Like this card's like better because of the other cards that are in. Like there's a lot of these spells that can corrupt it, and then it's like remove a big minion off of a battle cry while playing a 3/5. Because there's so many 6+ mage spells and cards that are decent. It's easy to corrupt this card, so that's why this card is isn't the craziest card, but because of the other cards that are in the set, it's better. This card's good. Getting those arcane bolts, that's just more potential burn or removal. It's a good flex. It's deal 3 damage after you have 8 mana. Conjure, this one's pretty strong too. It's a good tempo card for like the mid to late game, and make sure that you destroy it on your side. That's how it works. So whatever side the card of the board the card is destroyed on is where you'll just destroy 1 minion and get 2 of the same cost on that side of the board. So never do it on your opponent's side. I was not sure I didn't remember on day 1 how this card worked, and I made that mistake and lost the game. So don't throw a game that you could have won like I did. Life Sentence is a pretty good removal. Oh, this secret is very strong. So our secret rogue, if you can play secrets for free with the rogue combination, this is one of the secrets. Like I was playing this card and then a rogue secret where when they cast a spell, so basically on turn 3 I could coin a 3/4 from my deck, and I could play this card where the next minion they play on like their turn 4 is completely deleted, nothing happens, they don't get a battle cry or anything, it just evaporates. And then when they cast a spell, if they decide to cast a spell, I'd get another 3/4. So it's just crazy tempo for Arena. And then Primordial Glyph, you can find a bunch of the spells that are good in Mage or other classes like Priest or DK, Death Knight, and you get a 2 mana reduction, so still pretty good, just solid. Those are most of the things that Mage is doing, still trying to do. Contest for the board early, freezes, and stack some burn and burn your face to end the game. Still the same game plan, but a little bit better tools to kill people than other classes have. And then the last one that I want to highlight is Hunter. Just because primarily what you want to do, again, to reiterate, is pick for one of your 2 classes. Hopefully, most of the time you should be able to get one of these top 4, and then kind of know what you want to go, how you want to play, and what cards you're looking for. To like these very S tier cards that I'm going over. These very good cards that are very strong that help you generate a lot of tempo, cheat a lot of mana. Again, generating tempo by cheating mana, or generate a lot of value by finding a bunch of cards that you generate from your opponent if you're like a priest, or that you just generate from discovering if you're a priest or other classes as well. Priest does both of those things. But for this last class, your game plan on Hunter, it's the classic game plan. It is, try to push your early game advantage to be board dominant early and fast. Get first on board, dominate on board early, and then after you're up like maybe 3 minions, just all of your minions, if you just send them all face, your opponent's like health will get low, and then effectively everything you play has taunt. So even when it doesn't, because if they don't remove your board, they die essentially. So they have to remove it, meaning it has taunt. So that's kind of the Hunter plan. It's been what Hunter has done best since Hearthstone has came out. So basically, you want to, with Hunter, generate as much tempo as you possibly can is usually what's good. There have been a couple attempts at like a slower control Hunter, and there's a couple of spells like that. But again, like maybe comboing with the slower class like Priest is probably Priest there's certain fast cards, but Priest is just like a slower style, just we're going to have more value, we're going to steal more of your stuff and just kind of kill you in a slower methodical way is kind of what Priest has always done, and that doesn't really jive with Hunter. So the classes, first, the second pairing class that you kind of want, the things that I think, the classes that pair well with Hunter are Rogue, Death Knight, because Death Knight is very flexible, Mage has the burn spells that could be finishers, and Demon Hunter, but Demon Hunter's on one of the very shitty bottom tier, but it can pair well. So maybe you could try that. And then I've had success with like Druid in the past, but the last two I would probably try to pair Hunter with one of the other 3 that I said, because they have just better options. Rogue, Death Knight, or let me look at the classes. I feel like I'm forgetting a class. Typically, typically these have been classically good pairings, especially this one, because it's got like a lot of tempo. This has like the most tempo. So ideally, like maybe you have to pick Rogue and then you pick Hunter second, or you pick Hunter and then like you pick Rogue over if you get like over a Priest, just because of the class synergy is better. I mean, there are ways to make Hunter Priest work, but it's just a bit harder to have it hit because the classes kind of highlight 2 different styles of play. Hunter Paladin Paladin's pretty a tempo-based class. So you just like the classes I wouldn't pair it with. Maybe you can, and I'm just not doing it right. I'll just would be Priest and these bottom 3 or bottom 4. And probably Priest and Shaman. I think any of the other pairings are fine. Death Knight can be high tempo. Mage has a lot of high tempo options. Rogue and Paladin as well. Shaman maybe, but Shaman and Priest kind of are slower mid-range to control. So I would just avoid these. And if you have to, on these bottom ones, pick Demon Hunter, because Demon Hunter has a lot of smork options too. Okay, so again, a lot of the cards, why has Hunter climbed? It has better early game options that are stronger, that lets it combo. This Mark Shot is pretty good. I have seen it a lot. Oh, the Spirit Poacher is new. This card is good. It's very, it gives you potential imprisoned rush, a free like extra card for 2 that helps you contest the board early. The Stonebound Gorgon is a very good beast, especially if you infuse it and give it cleave. That's just insane. So if you get a lot of beasts, I have not seen the kennels. Like I have not had a beast hunter destroy me with kennels, but potentially, having this down on 2, and there are a lot of good combos. Like you can give like your Jeweled Macaw for 1 mana can become a 3/2 with Rush, and plus whatever it generates. So it can be a very good way to get a quick, cheap trade and just get ahead. You want to get ahead as fast as possible on Hunter. This card's pretty good. Again, the Dormant Wild Steeds is like 3/1s with Rush. I think. Hold on, let's look at the Wild Steeds. I know the 3/1 with Rush off the top of my head. Wild Steeds, Hearthstone. Okay, well that didn't really work. That's not what I was trying to look up. Essentially, I think there's like 2 or 3. One is a 3/1 with Rush. I think the other one has Taunt. It's just like decent stats. Don't want this video. This video is getting to be too long. Okay. Okay, so again, like Hunter is one of the top 4, and I saw a couple pretty crazy aggressive Hunters on my last run to 10 and 3. Again, that link is going to be in the description. So the first run went 9. The second run is why I'm saying maybe don't do Priest and Hunter, because that's the one that went 3. That could have went 5, but I think if I picked a different class, the duels could have synergized better than it did, and we might have been able to probably win more games, because 3 is not a lot of wins. And then the last one is 10, and I saw a fair amount of aggressive Hunter decks on that one on the 6+. I think 3 out of the 5 games after we got to 6 wins were against aggro, with Hunter being half of the aggro opponents, if I remember right. Collateral damage is pretty good. This card is a very, very good way to get extra face damage in and remove stuff at the same time, so it's worth the 8 mana being expensive. High main is better right now because it's high main has always had the same power. If you're ahead on board as a Hunter and throughout the first 5 turns, and you just get a strong crazy statted for 6 mana card that's also, if you remove it, has more stats, and just an annoying card when you're already up like 2 minions, the card's crazy. And then at that point, after you play the high main, and if you ship everything face, they're probably almost dead. So that's kind of, contest for board. Ideally in a Hunter game, contest for board the first 3 turns, be ahead 1 minion, develop, maybe remove 1 more minion, to have like 1 mid game, 1 early game minion advantage, 1 mid game minion advantage, play a high main, send everything face, and they're at like 6 health and dead, and you just hero power a couple more times, and hopefully they don't have any healing and you win. Like that type of mindset. So since Hunter has a lot of good early game options right now, high main is back, and this is one of the ones that also lets you push extra face damage. You send this into like a 1 health minion, 4 of the damage can go face. You can push other damage face, so you could deal 10 face damage in 1 turn. Maybe have this be like a 5/4, and then play a high main, and then you're threatening lethal, and their opponent's just like, fuck, can't do anything. Shimmerfly must be pretty decent. Animal Companion is back. The 2 mana find all the companions cards, get all 3 is out. So this one is just a standard, it's always been decent for 3 mana. So this one is fine, because that better card is out. Again, the Wild Steeds are they're in. If you play it in game, it shows you what Wild Steeds there are. There's 3. The one that I remember that I use the most is the 3/1 with Rush. This card's very good. It's a 1/1 with a 2/1 that comes out after you kill it. Just more trade with something, get extra value, more good Hunter things. The Corruptible Cobra is back because it's pretty easy to corrupt it, because it only costs 2. Deal 2 damage to a minion. Draw that many cards. Oh, this could be deal 2 damage to a minion and draw 2 cards if you're running low on cards because you're smorking on 6. That's very good. It's classic Deadly Shot. Oh yeah, this card I saw last night. So this the twin spell means you can cast it twice, so you can get 2/5/5s with rushes, which is pretty decent. It's not the most exciting 6-drop, but if it allows you to, let's say you coined a high main, and you want the high main to go face, but there's a 5/5 contesting it, there you go. You can kill the 5/5 and send the 7 damage face, and then you have another spell that does the same thing. So most of the new cards, and the reason that Hunter has climbed, like this card's back, it's a good, this thing can go face if they don't have a board, it'll attack the face. If the only enemy is the enemy's face, because their board is cleared, then you, on turn 4, get a free 5 base damage, and it's good stats for just a 2 mana cost. So basically, Hunter is better and back because they gave it good, most of these are good, cheap tempo, get on board, stop your enemies tempo options, and push that advantage into your opponent's face and kill them quickly. So Hunter is back. Hunter is doing those Hunter things that Hunter has always done well. Let me just see if there's anything that I'm forgetting. Oh, okay. So this card I haven't seen played against me, but I guess it's a pretty common offering. It summons all the wild steeds, so you can see all of the. Maybe we can see them by searching the R lawn. Maybe this will show the wild steeds. Okay, here we go. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so here are the 3 wild seeds. I'm glad I finally found a way to search since I've been talking about it. All right, so this is the main one that I remember that I've gotten when I played it. This is very good too. You get a 2 mana 2/5 taunt, and then this one I haven't. Oh, this one equips the great bow. Oh Jesus, so that's a ton of value over the next 3 turns with extra value for the Arlon. So definitely pick this card. That's insane. All 3 of these are good. This has the most value, but you wait the most turns. So that's pretty good. So you can see this is the one I always got. I think I got this one the most. I didn't have this card. I had in my Hunter. I had the I had this poacher. Sylvanas the Accursed, again, good card. If you infuse it, you just Battlecry steal something, you don't have to wait for it to die. Zombeast. See if there's anything I forgot. This was in the last meta, still standardly good. Oh, the rifle's back, this legendary weapon. The secrets, I think there are pretty good secrets in this meta, so I guess that's why this card's gotten upgraded. There's good rogue secrets, there's good mage secrets that I went over. The hunter secrets are okay. Oh, this card's very good, this neutral pair as well. Just more tempo to contest the board with. Anything else I need to talk about? Summon a Gargon Companion. Huntsman, Altamore. So let's just see what that card does. So if you infuse 8, which 8 minions die, then you can get 2 of these to summon with him for free. So let's just look at the high roll potential, and this is for 7 mana. So you can get a Huffer, you can get a Leok. Oh, so this is just renamed Huffer. This is just normal companions, just with different names: Huffer, Leok, and Misha. Oh, okay. So it's just renamed the 3 normal animal companions. That's pretty good because it's very strong to get 2 of them. So summon another. Okay, so if you have this in your hand from the start of the game and you So if you top deck it, it's just going to give you 1 out of the 3, which is okay. For 7, it's a little bit weak. If you've infused it for 4, you get 2 out of the 3. That's pretty strong. If you infuse it for 8, it's very good. The legendaries aren't that crazy, and I think that's a good highlight of what you kind of want to do. Again, if you're playing some of these other like lesser classes, just try to get synergies, try to draft tempo. If you're playing this class with the priest, try to get like the clears and the value. You can come and you can look at like the good cards just like I did, but in general the way you're going to win the most is picking like from one of these 4, and then hopefully again picking from one of these 4, and then just getting most of the good cards and getting good synergies and blowing away your opponents. That's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, a subscription, and if there's other ideas of videos that you want to see, comment down below and let me know. And consider checking out my live streams, and thank you for watching. Catch you guys on the next one.